The Potato Sack ARG, Valve's Portal 2 augmented reality game. Potato Sack is the name of an alternate reality game, or ARG, created by Valve Corporation and the developers of 13 independent video games from 10 companies, including Two Tribes, Team Meat, and Dejoban Games, to promote the release of Valve's title Portal 2 in April 2011. Valve president Gabe Newell envisioned the game as a cross-game design event in December 2010 and allowed the developers a free rein to design the game using Valve's Portal intellectual property. The game, requiring players to find and solve a number of puzzles hidden within updates of the 13 games, ultimately led to the opportunity for players to release Portal 2 10 hours earlier than its planned release by playing games under the pretense of powering up GLaDOS, the sentient computer antagonist from the Portal 2 series. The ARG's theme of potatoes is based on plot elements within Portal 2, especially that for part of the game, GLaDOS' personality module is run off of a potato battery. The PotatoFool'sDay ARG Potato Sack is the second ARG to be released by Valve to promote the Portal franchise. In March 2010, Valve released a 5-part ARG to stimulate hype around the upcoming release of Portal 2. These events inspired Newell to attempt the Potato Sack ARG, integrating even more outside sources into his gameverse to create a more cross-platform experience that could simultaneously promote collaboration and support in the gaming industry. On the April 1st release date of the Potato Sack bundle, players found the games within it had recently received updates. Most provided an immediate cosmetic change by replacing or adding assets that referred to potatoes. When players started looking deeper into these new assets, they discovered a series of glyphs that referred to other games associated with specific letters, as well as nonsense sentences that led to specific ciphers. On April 7th, players found that completing tasks in the game presented login screens for the fictional Aperture Science Corporation within the Steam interface. Other clues led to passwords that could be used to log into these screens, providing players compressed archives of pictures that consisted of Portal 2 artwork, including photographs from around Seattle, where Valve is based, embedded in their backgrounds through transparent layers. Each archive included a portion of a larger archive that was password protected. The password was unveiled using the glyphs, ciphers, and letters from the first update. When the locations of these points were mapped and connected per the puzzle's instructions, the map showed the word Prelude. Players that reached and logged into these screens received a potato icon for each access screen on their Steam profile. For the third update, on April 12th, another update for each game was released. These updates were all Portal themed, such as levels based on Aperture Science in The Ball and Killing Floor. Again, players found that by completing specific tasks in the new content, they would be presented with an Aperture Science screen, though this time the screen provided a cryptic audio clue. These clues were found to be 2-part clues relating to the previously identified locations around Seattle. By mapping these points using locations commonly shared by one clue, players were led to the name of a Steam group that contained a single member by the name of Dinosaur, a reference to an earlier ARG used for Portal 2's announcement. Screenshots within this user's profile gave a QR code that pointed to a website with a countdown time set to expire on the morning of April 15, 2011. Players who discovered these audio clues would be awarded another potato on their Steam profile. A total of 36 possible potatoes were found, 35 within the games and the reference Steam group, and a 36th earned by obtaining all 35 of the other potatoes. Along with these changes, Portal 2 became available for preloading on the Steam client. At this point, several journalists and players suspected that Portal 2 may have been unlocked early at the end of the countdown timer. This correlated with a separate puzzle embedded in messages sent by Gabe Newell to a number of gaming sites, suggesting the early release of material and 13 off-site chambers, seemingly referring to the independent games, as well as a message 4/19/2011, 7 a.m. through 4/15/2011, 9 a.m., again referencing the planned Portal 2 release date and the countdown timer. As April 15th drew near, 9 heavily involved players from the ARG appeared to disengage from the various chat rooms, leaving with the message, "There's a hole in the sky through which I can fly." This was a line used in early advertisements for Portal. When contacted by other players, these individuals remained coy and cryptic about their actions, appearing to have been infected by GLaDOS. It was later revealed that these players, contacted by Valve a few days prior, were invited to Valve's headquarters to be the first to play Portal 2. At the end of the countdown timer, the countdown website redirected to a new page on the fictional Aperture Science website called GLaDOS at Home. Spoofing other distributed computing efforts like Folding at Home, the site stated that if players generated enough CPU cycles by playing the 13 games in the Potato Sack, GLaDOS would be rebooted earlier, effectively suggesting an earlier release of Portal 2 before the originally scheduled time of 7 a.m. on April 19, 2011. The number of potatoes found would also serve to help boost the effort. Only one game, Killing Floor, saw an update in this phase, where a special chamber in their Portal-themed map would be open for players to complete for an in-game achievement. The players organized a schedule of games to be played to maximize the rate of progression, and eventually ended up unlocking Portal 2 on Steam approximately 10 hours before its scheduled time. The roughly 1,800 players that had successfully earned all 36 potatoes by the time of Portal 2's launch were given the Valve Complete Pack, including Portal 2, which they could gift to other players. Players who had found at least 13 potatoes, or played each of the Potato Sack games for a minimum amount of time, received Portal 2 themed items within Team Fortress 2. On June 13, 2012, the Potato Sack bundle briefly returned to Steam under the name Potato Sack June 2012 as a reunion celebration, though no new ARG clues were included. When crafting an ARG of this scale, Valve had to take into consideration what would come of their efforts in order to ensure such a production would prove valuable to their company. Without realizing it, the corporation was building their ARG off of Bartle's taxonomy theory of game interaction. These axes identify the focus of the player's attention, world-oriented versus player-oriented, and describe the way the player approaches the game, action versus interaction. The intersecting axes thus form 4 distinct player types: killers, socialers, achievers, and explorers. Explorers are users who are interested in understanding the mechanics and rules of the system, as well as mapping out the world, while socializers are users who enjoy chatting, interacting, and role-playing with other users. Killers are those players that want to see havoc unfold within the ARG's world, and achievers are their opposites, the ones who want to complete every mission to the letter in order to feel accomplished and win. The Potato Sack ARG engaged these 4 types of players through its different use of puzzles and communications. Achievers could aim to solve the ARG in order to release Portal 2 10 hours early. Explorers could wander from puzzle to puzzle and forum to forum to unveil mysteries hidden within the 13 games of the Potato Sack. Socializers could utilize the Steam forums to interact with other ARG players to find answers for unlocking clues, and partner with friends to push both players further along in the game. And killers still had the opportunity to disregard the baseline of the ARG to play the individual games however they wanted, as well as plant off-putting clues along the way to distract other players. While the PotatoFool'sDay Potato Sack ARG was not the first of its kind, nor the last, it remains a successful example of how gaming organizations can utilize community and resources to create unique marketing experiences to cross-promote their merchandise. By considering the multitudinous ways in which players engage with the game, as killers, achievers, explorers, and socializers, Valve was able to create a transmedia experience that spoke to Valve's president's original vision, a cross-platform puzzle that not only engaged users, but championed independent game development to foster community online and off. The Potato Sack ARG challenged users to be the masters of their own gaming experiences, as a way of showing that a game is more than just what the game itself is. It's what you make of it.